Welcome back to 24 Billion Stories. I hope you had a great Christmas celebration. I know I sure did. It's still Christmas season, so we're going to have one more Christmas story today, but I'm changing the format just a little bit. In every other episode of 24 Billion Stories, I've been sharing part of a story, whether it's through a movie or a book or a song, and then I've talked about it. Well, today and for the next 6 or 8 episodes, I want to be sharing a whole story. And then you can talk about it. You can talk about that with your friends, with your family, wherever you find them. I would love to talk about it with you in the comments. And since it's still Christmas season, we're going to kick this whole thing off with one of my favorite Christmas stories. It's not as popular a story or well known as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Frosty the Snowman, but I think it's one of the best Christmas stories out there. It's the story of Barrington Bunny by Martin Bell. Now, I do want to let you know before we go further that this story, even though it's called Barrington Bunny, it can be a little hard for young children to listen to. So if you're a parent or a grandparent or an older brother or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle or anyone that might want to share this story with a young child, make sure you listen to it first so you know whether the young children in your life will be able to listen to it themselves. All right, that's quite enough. Let's get started. So before I tell the story of Barrington Bunny, I want to give you a little bit of background on it. It's part of a collection of short stories written by Martin Bell called The Way of the Wolf. I encourage you to get the book. It's got wonderful stories in it as well as some poems. You can find it on Amazon. I've included the link below so you can get that. If at all possible, get a copy of that. It's like $6 for a paperback. You will be glad that you did. It's money well spent. So let's get into it. The story of Barrington Bunny. Once upon a time, in a large forest, there lived a very furry bunny. He had one lop ear, a tiny black nose, and unusually bright eyes. His name was Barrington. Now, Barrington was not really a very handsome bunny. His fur was kind of speckled and not consistent. His ears hung kind of weird, but Barrington was a bunny, and he could hop, and he, as I've said, was very, very furry. Now, this story takes place in wintertime. I told you it was a Christmas story. And in a way, winter is wonderful for bunnies. You see, in the winter, the snow is on the ground, and bunnies can hop through the snow, and they don't mind the snow because they're so furry and they're so warm. And that's what Barrington loved to do in the winter. He liked that about winter. He loved to go to the clearing in the middle of the forest, and he would hop around and make patterns in the snow. Then he'd look back over his shoulder and see where he'd hopped. Barrington, in many ways, liked winter. But in some other ways, Barrington didn't like winter so much because, after all, it was in winter that Christmas was celebrated. Now, you might think, why would Barrington not like Christmas? Well, because in the forest, Christmas was the time when animals got together on Christmas Eve and all Christmas Day to celebrate with their families. And as far as Barrington knew, he was the only bunny in the entire forest. So he didn't have any family to celebrate Christmas with. And so on this particular Christmas, it was very snowy and it was very cold, and Barrington took himself to the clearing in the middle of the forest, and he hopped around and he made patterns in the snow, and he enjoyed that for a while. But as the sun was setting and the wind was getting colder and the snow was beginning to fall a little harder, Barrington decided it was time for him to head home. He didn't really want to go home because he was going to be alone. As I said, he was the only bunny in the forest. But Barrington set out for home. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Barrington went through the snow. As he was heading home, he hopped past a large oak tree. And up way high in the branches, he could hear squirrels having a party. And Barrington stopped and he thought, well, maybe I can go to the squirrel's house and celebrate Christmas with them. So he looked up in the tree and he called out, "Hello, up there." And someone called down from way up there and said, "Hello, down there." And Barrington said, "It's me, Barrington." And the squirrel said, "Well, hello, Barrington. Merry Christmas." And Barrington said, "Merry Christmas to you, squirrels. Hey, I was wondering, are you having a Christmas party?" And the squirrel said, "Well, yeah, we're having a Christmas party. It's Christmas. What else would you do on Christmas Eve?" And Barrington said, "Do you think I could come to your house for the Christmas party and celebrate Christmas with you?" And there was a little bit of a pause before the squirrel called back, "Well, I don't see why not. Can you climb trees?" No, said Barrington, but I can hop, and I'm very furry and warm." The squirrel said, "Well, Barrington, I don't know much about being a bunny, but I do know you have to be able to climb trees to come to our house. Well, that's okay. That's all right. I'll just stop by some other time when you're not up in your house. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, Barrington! And Barrington continued to hop through the forest on his way to home. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Soon Barrington came to the lake, and out in the middle of the lake there was this little mound of sticks. And a mound is not the right word. It was a house. It was brilliantly and beautifully built by the Beaver family. And Barrington, even from all the way on the bank, could hear the Beaver family laughing and singing carols and having a great time celebrating Christmas. And Barrington was getting sad, but then he thought, well, maybe I should ask the beavers. And he called out, "Hello, beavers!" And in a moment, there was an answer. "Hello, who is it?" And Barrington said, "It's me, Barrington." And the beavers answered, "Merry Christmas, Barrington." And Barrington called out, "Hey, beavers, can I come to your house for Christmas?" There was a long pause, and then a splash, as Mr. Beaver's head broke the surface of the water just off the bank of the lake. And Barrington said, "Hello, Mr. Beaver, Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas, Barrington," said the beaver. "So, did I hear you right? You want to come to our house for Christmas?" And Barrington said, "Well, yes, if that's okay." And the beaver said, "We'd love to have you. Can you swim?" Barrington stopped. He looked down and he shuffled his feet and he squeezed back a tear from his eyes and he said, "No, I can't swim, but I can hop, and I'm very furry and warm." The beaver said, "I don't know much about being a bunny, but I do know you have to be able to swim to come to our house. I'm sorry, Barrington." Barrington said, "That's okay." But he turned away quickly so Mr. Beaver wouldn't see the tears in his eyes. And as Barrington hopped away, he said, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Beaver." Mr. Beaver said, "Merry Christmas, Barrington." And Barrington hopped on through the forest toward his home. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Hop, hop, hippity hop. When he got close to his home, he passed through a small clearing, not the same one he was playing in before, and he heard field mice having a party way down in the ground beneath the snow. And Barrington just stopped and he sat where he was and he called out, field mice, can I come to your house for Christmas?" But the wind was blowing so hard and the snow was falling harder now, and they didn't even hear him. And Barrington just sat in the snow and he cried. He cried. You can't really blame him. He said to himself, "What good is it to hop, to be furry and warm, when you don't have any family for Christmas?" Barrington cried some more. But as he was crying, Barrington became aware that he was not alone in the forest. He was not alone in that clearing. And it most certainly wasn't the field mice that had come to see him. Barrington wiped his nose and he looked up from his sniffling, and there, at the edge of that little clearing, in the shadows of the trees, was a giant silver wolf. Now, when I say giant, I don't mean like a huge, big as a house wolf. He was bigger than a normal wolf, and Barrington was a bunny, and that made him a giant wolf to Barrington. And that wolf just stared at Barrington. He just stood there and stared, and he had terrible eyes that flashed fire, and he didn't say anything, and he just looked at Barrington with those eyes, and Barrington started to get nervous, and he wondered what was going to happen. And then at last, very slowly and very deliberately, the wolf spoke. "Barrington, what are you doing here?" Barrington said, "I don't want to go home." And the wolf said, "Why don't you want to go home, Barrington?" And Barrington said, "Because I'll be all alone. I'm the only bunny in the forest, and I don't have anyone to celebrate Christmas with, and bunnies are useless, and they're not good for anything." And the wolf said, "That isn't true, Barrington. Why, bunnies can hop, And bunnies are very furry and very warm. Well, what good is it to hop and to be furry and warm if you don't have any family to celebrate Christmas with? And the wolf said, well, Barrington, it's very good to hop and to be furry and warm. It's a gift. It's a gift you've been given. A free gift. No strings attached. And what do you mean you don't have any family? Barrington Bunny, don't you know that every animal in the forest is a member of your family? Barrington thought about that. He looked down, he blinked, he looked up. The wolf was gone. Gone. All Barrington did was glance away and blink, and he looked back, and the wolf was gone. But what the wolf said stuck with Barrington. Every animal in the forest is a member of my family. Barrington got an idea. He went looking, and it was hard to find with all that snow, but at last he found a really, really nice stick. And he carried that stick all the way to the edge of the lake, and he put a note on it as he left it there. Dear Beaver family, Merry Christmas. Here's a stick for your house. It's a gift, a free gift, no strings attached. And the snow was wind was blowing, and the snow was falling even harder, and Barrington knew he had to work fast. It was getting darker and darker and colder, and he dug down through that snow, and as he dug, he thought, my goodness, it's good that I'm very furry and warm, else I might freeze to death digging in the snow like this. But he dug and he dug and he dug until he had gathered up a whole bunch of dry, dead leaves and small dry twigs, and he bundled them up and he carried them to that big oak tree. And he put them at the bottom of the tree where the squirrel family lived, and he put a note on them that said, this is a gift, squirrel family. Merry Christmas. It's a free gift. No strings attached. And Barrington looked at it, and he smiled. And then the wind blew, and the snow fell, and Barrington shivered, and he thought, oh no, this isn't just regular snow. This is a blizzard that's starting. I better get home soon. Even though I can hop and I'm furry and warm, if I stay out in this, even I might freeze. And Barrington hopped off toward home. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Hop, hop, hippity hop. But the snow was blowing so hard, and the night was so dark, that Barrington soon got lost in the forest. And as he paused to try to decide where to go and what to do, he heard it. Squeak, squeak. And Barrington looked around, and he perked up his ears. Even his floppy ear lifted up a little bit, and he heard it again. Squeak, squeak. And Barrington said, hello there, field mouse. For he could see it. It was a baby field mouse lost in the snow. And the field mouse called back, oh, help me, help me, help me. I'm lost, and I just know I'm going to freeze to death. And Barrington said, don't you worry. I'm a bunny, and I can hop. And that's just what Barrington did. Hop, hop, hippity hop. He was right there next to the field mouse. And he said, and I'm very furry and warm, and you don't have to worry about anything. And Barrington settled down and nestled down right there on top of that field mouse. And he cuddled him up close, deep in the softest fur on his belly. And the field mouse, he cried a little bit more, but soon he fell asleep. And Barrington sat there on top of him all that night. And all that long, cold, dark night, Barrington had only two thoughts. One was this: I'm a bunny, and bunnies can hop, and they're very furry and warm, and that's good, and it's a gift, a free gift, no strings attached. And as he felt that little field mouse's heart beating against his body, Barrington thought, every animal in the forest is a member of my family. Why, when the sun came up the next morning and the field mice family found their lost baby, they were so happy that they didn't even notice the frozen carcass of that dead bunny that he crawled out from under. They took him back home, their baby that is, and didn't give a thought. In fact, no one thought of Barrington that day, although the Beaver family always did wonder who left them that stick, and the Squirrel family could never figure out which member of their family had left them those leaves and twigs. Barrington was all alone. Except not really. For one animal remembered him. It was the wolf. That giant silver wolf came and he stood next to Barrington's body all Christmas Day and all Christmas night. And then he left. And that's the story of Barrington Bunny. Hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you might share it with some other folks if you enjoyed it. And until we talk again, I hope that you keep listening to stories and keep telling yours.